Hey guys, so I'm back with my next video. This one is going to be an open cup pour. And basically for that, all you do, you start out like what you see I just did there is just pour a little bit of a base color. Usually it's white, sometimes it can be black, but most of the time it's white. And you put some kind of little open cup. It can be a cookie cutter, which is what I have, or it can be just the bottom of a cup that you cut out. And then you layer in your colors, and then you just kind of slowly pick up the cup. And you'll see me doing that here in just a moment. So I'll let you guys go ahead and watch, and I'll be right back. All right, so I've got the colors layered in there, and now I'm just going to just slowly, a little bit at a time, just raise the cup. So what that does is it allows the colors to flow out of the bottom of that cup and spread out on the canvas. And one thing you're going to see usually start to develop are some of the cells. And you'll see me do this here in just a moment, but what you can do is get your torch and just kind of torch around the outer edges where the white paint is, and then it'll start to open those cells up and they'll start to develop more. So you'll see me doing that here in just a moment, but for right now I'm just continuing to layer the colors, and then it's really up to you how much you do. I usually kind of layer them several times. I think I did it like 3 times on this one, but it's really up to you how much paint you want to use and how much you want it to cover, depending on the size of your canvas. So this one is a 12 by 12, so I'm using quite a bit of paint. So once you guys start layering it, just be careful not to get too little paint. I would rather err on the side of too much versus too little. So all right, so you see me picking it up, and you can see the colors start to spreading out there. So that's what you're just going to keep doing until you get it spread out enough that you think it's going to cover all the edges. And like I said, I did it about 3 times. I would layer it and then let it flow out and then layer it again, same thing. So I would just do that several times until you guys feel like it's going to cover. So, all right, so I'll let you keep watching, and then I'll be back in just a moment. All right, so here is where I'm going to torch around the edges there. You see the cells were already starting to develop, but one thing you can do, like I'm doing here, is just go ahead and use the torch because that'll accelerate the cell development. So you can do that once it has spread out quite a bit, or you can start doing it as soon as you want to, but it's not going to develop usually until you've done a couple of layers in there. So, all right, so I'm finishing this. I think this is the last time I'm layering the colors in there. And then what you're going to see me do here in just a moment is once I get everything out of that cup, I'll just pick up the cup. And when you do that, what you want to do is just kind of, you can move it around a little bit. to make sure you don't have just one big blob of paint, like one big circle of paint there. So you'll see what I do here in just a moment for that. And then the next thing is I will start to tilt the canvas. Okay, there we go. So I went ahead and did it that way just because, like I said, I didn't want to have just a big blob of paint because I've done it before and it did that and it didn't look too great. So that's why I just made sure not to do that. All right, so tilting the canvas, when I tilt, I always try to get it to go to each of the corners before I let it go over the edge too much. And then you can continue torching, just continue to letting those cells develop. And so when you get the paint all the way to the edges on all four corners, then you can let it go over the sides as much as you want to. But just make sure, part of your design, one thing whenever you do create the cells, sometimes the cells end up going over the edge. So if you want more cells, there's ways to do that, and for them not to go over the edge. So I'll show you guys in one of my next videos about the cell development and how to sort of do that. But this one I actually captured. I captured some of the cells in there, and it turns out really cool. You'll see it here in just a moment when I'm finished. But the cells and it's called lacing, where the paint it looks like lace over the next layer down. So that's what sort of develops here on this one. And I'm going to go ahead and finish it up here. Once I finish tilting, you'll see me take the palette knife, and if you've watched my other videos, you've seen me do this before, but I just take the palette knife and just I take the paint that's dripped over the sides and then just scoop that up and let it drip over the edges where the paint didn't cover. And like I said, you'll see me do that here in just a moment, and then also scrape along the bottom of the canvas, just so that the paint doesn't take your design over the side. So I'll let you continue watching this, and then I'll be back in just a moment. All right, guys, so this is the finished painting right here, and I am really happy with this one. I think it's very reminiscent of the ocean. It just reminds me of water. So if you guys like this one, be sure to give me a like and follow, subscribe. You can see my socials. I've got those on my description. So I would love for you guys to follow me on those, and I will see you guys in the next video.